in some ways the culmination of a lot of what we've done so far in this unit. Finding slope of a line, plotting points, finding x and y intercepts, and this is hopefully going to pull it all together. Okay, so let's start with a point, a couple of easy points. Let's do -4, 5, and how about 0, 2. And we could easily come over to the graph over here and, sorry, let's just make sure that we know that this is a negative sign. And we could graph these 2 points, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 back and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our first point. The other point is at 0, 2. 0 and up 2. We can sketch the line here for ourselves. Not the best, I'm still getting better with this pen. But based on this, we can do a couple things. And our eventual goal is to be able to write this in slope-intercept form, right? So we'll probably should note at this point that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And we could, well, we know what the intercept is already right here, since we know that the crosses of the y-intercept at 2. So we can start filling in our slope-intercept form. Y equals sum x plus 2. Well, we know that we can probably figure out what the slope is just based upon the graph, right? So if we start at this point, we go down 1, 2, down 3, and it looks like we go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like our slope, I'm just going to erase this spot right here. It looks like our slope is -3/4. And that's pretty easy. Based upon a graph like that, it's not too hard to write it in slope-intercept form. The trick is going to come when we're not lucky enough to have a y-intercept given to us like we do here, right? This point already gives us the y-intercept. So let's look at one when we wouldn't be given the y-intercept. Give ourselves a new graph. Move this guy over here. We'll switch back over to my pen tool. And let's say we were given a point that didn't already give us what the y-intercept was. So let's say the 2 points given were, how about 3, -2 and 6, 0. Well, we could do the same thing. We could easily come over here and plot the 2 points, right? So 3, -2 looks like would be what? 1, 2, 3, down 2. And the other point will be 6, 0, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just double check that I'm in the right spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So, and we can draw a line. Let's see how good I do drawing through the lines. But the unfortunate thing is we can only sort of guess. This my line is not straight at all. We can only guess as to where what the y-intercept would be. Well, we could figure out what the slope is of this line just by plotting it here, right? We could say, okay, I went over 1, 2, 3, and I went up 1, 2 spots. So I know that my slope looks to be 2 over 3. Let's just double check that. So how far did I go from -2 to 0? I went 2 spots. And how far did I go to get from 3 to 6? I went 3 spots, right? So don't forget that slope is always the difference between the y's divided by the difference between the x's. So -2 minus 0, right? Because these are the 2 y's. Hopefully this will make you remember. So this is always the x. The y always comes second. And so the difference between the y's is -2 minus 0, and 3 minus 6. Well, -2 minus 0 is 0. Sorry, is -2, and 3 minus 6 is -3. And yeah, that's the same thing, right? -2 over -3 is the same thing as 2 over 3. But the question remains, how do we know for sure? Well, it looks like 4 right here, but my line is not straight at all. Let's just double check and see. I mean, it could be somewhere else. But we can do that just by plugging in some values here. So if we go back to our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, well, I know that my m is 2/3. And lucky, I have an x and a y value, two x values and 2 y values. Let's plug these in. So I know, let's choose this one. I'm going to use this one because this one looks pretty easy. It's got a 0. So if I come back down here and I plug in 0 for y, because I know that's one of my possible y values over here, right? We know that the y value is 6, but, sorry, y value is 0 with a value of 6. And I know that the x value for that same point is 6. I'll plug it in right here. And good news, my only unknown thing at this point still is the b, and that's what we want. Well, 2/3 times 6 is 12 over 3. And 12 over 3, hopefully everybody should know, is 4. 4 plus b equals 0. We can subtract 4 from both sides. And I'm left with b equals -4. Well, good. So if I go back, and that's looking pretty good, right? So we said y equals 2/3 x minus 4. And guess what? Right on. So this is a pretty easy way that if you are given 2 points or you're given slope, we can talk about that probably in the next lecture. But if you're given 2 points, you can either plot it to find out what the slope is, or you can do it mathematically like we did here, and then you can always plug in one of the 2 points. But you have to make sure that the points stay together. If you choose the y from this point, you have to use the x from this point as well. We could also have done it with this one and plugged in -2 for y here and 3 for x here, and we would have gotten the same thing. We would have still gotten -4. All right, so that's the lecture on how to write a linear equation given 2 points. All right, hope this helps, guys.